in this episode of the Cinema Goodness Podcast.
And not being stifled, because the job as a writer and a storyteller isn't really to make money. It's to take people's mind on a journey. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And connect and make them see themselves in these characters, in this situation, and make them, reflect and make them feel a part of that. And if you worrying about, well, we only got one more episode to do that, then like you said, it's gonna be lackluster, man. And you're gonna cheat the audience. What's going on, family? It's Kahim and JP back with another episode. How you doing today, JP?
Man, I'm doing good. What about you?
Feeling great, man. Got a good episode for y'all today. We're gonna be reacting to the Loki Season 2 trailer. Also, George Lucas has some clips that recently resurfaced expressing his frustration with Hollywood, and we're going to be talking about that, man. Also, we're going to be reviewing Haunted Mansion, man. Real good film. Can't wait to get into that. We're going to wrap things up with our Rewatch of the Week, Scary Movie, man. Very fun episode today. Can't wait to get into it. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into the cinema goodness. All right. All right, man. Let's get into Loki Season 2, man. Loki had a great ending, man. And I didn't even know that they were going to come back. But I guess it was like one of the successful ones after Endgame. So they had to bring it back for another one, man. But, man.
You're right. I think of all the Disney Plus, Loki and WandaVision are right there. 1 and 2, maybe 1 and 1.5, probably the best of all of the ones they did.
Yeah, man, I agree.
In fact, I would venture to say they're better than a couple of the MCU movies taken together if you took all the episodes as one.
Ooh, okay. So if you're saying if you watch them all together, it will be better than a Marvel movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I say that because those two, I don't know if it was because of the pandemic, they had more time because there's a big delay in productions. But when those being the first two out the gate, they blew it out of the park. And I don't think any of the other Disney Plus series have come to the same level of writing, of acting, and even plot, like how it enmeshes into the rest of the MCU. So those two are the better. They're the cream of the crop when it comes to Disney Plus. The rest of them are below that, and many of them by a lot.
I would agree with that, man. I would really agree with that. Just thinking about it, like if I watched Loki all the way through, I would watch that over a movie. Like over some of the movies that they had. Well. Yeah, man. I'm excited for Season 2, man. Let's check this trailer out.
Obi? Hello? We have a little bit of a situation we wanted to run by you.
Tobias! Wow! Great to see you again!
That's what's been happening.
Wow! Time slipping.
Wait, you know that?
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Can you fix that?
No. It's impossible to time slip in the TVA.
I know, but we just saw it happen.
Yeah.
I've been pulled through time between the past and the present. Hello? If what I saw is true, there's nothing that stands between this world and utter destruction.
Only one way to find out. Little good old-fashioned legwork. Listen, we have different styles. You're a man of action, which is fine. I take a more slow, deliberate, cerebral approach.
It's really goodbye.
It's up to us to save this place.
Is this cracked?
Is it?
Whatever we do, we're playing God.
We are gods. choose who lives and who dies.
Make the hard choice.
It's him.
You better run!
War is on its way.
Come on, you're the god of mischief.
Always have been. Always will be.
A little over the top, don't you think?
I thought it was spot on.
Man.
That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, buddy. Wow. Owen Wilson back. They look like they got the female Loki came back. Oh, yeah, man. Looks good.
Yeah, because they're playing with time. You know, you can bring people back when you're playing with time.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to see Jonathan Majors in the preview. I can tell that they may have diminished his role a little bit, just because of everything that's going on. It hasn't fully been cleared up yet, but I'm thinking, based on some of the stuff that's been reported, that they would not be showing him at all in this if they didn't feel like he was probably innocent of what is being alleged against him. So I'm glad to see him. I'm actually glad to see the entire cast back for the most part. What was the agent? She's like in one of the scenes she's a doctor. Another scene she's got some sort of uniform on, like a superhero almost. I forget her name.
So you talking about Ravonna, the one that was kind of like one of the overseers of the TVA?
No, not Ravonna, because Ravonna had a prominent role. This young lady had she's the bigger actress. She had a smaller role. B-15. There you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She was in Lovecraft Country. Mm-hmm. She's been doing a lot of different stuff now, man. She's been doing some stuff, man. She's been out there. She's been working.
I got to get her name and learn her name so I can be on the lookout for her. Because I enjoyed her both of them. Say again?
Wunmi Mosaku.
Wunmi Mosaku. I don't remember that. I bet she's British and African.
Oh, no, she's Nigerian.
She's Nigerian.
She's an English actress, so I'm sure she probably does have an accent.
she is from Britain, so she's British, but she's Nigerian by her nationality.
Yeah, it says Nigerian-born English actress, so I'm pretty sure she is British.
I need to look up her speaking in her regular accent. Yeah. I love to hear Black women with British accents. It is a trip for me.
Yeah, do something to you.
My first time going overseas, I was on British Airways. I'll never forget this. I was a senior in high school, and I was going overseas, and I was on British Airways. And the flight attendant, her name was Simone. She was a beautiful Black woman, and she had a British accent. I'll never forget
that was
her.
It for you.
I can see her face right now. And that was in the year 2000, 23 years ago. Gosh.
That's crazy. Now, I'm looking at the cast. I don't know if all of these people are coming back, but it looked like Mark Ruffalo's there. Tessa Thompson, Phil Coulson. Yeah, they look like they got a good cast. If all these people here, but yeah, man, I'm excited about that. It's gonna be real good. Look like it's gonna be real good.
And that CGI where they have him doing the time slip thing, man, he looks like he's been pulled from the inside out.
Yeah,
that's pretty cold. Crazy looking.
Yeah, that's cold, bro. Yeah, man. Let's go. Loki season 2, October. What was that? October 6th.
Like they say, run it back. Let's do it again.
Yeah, man. All right, man. So some clips recently resurfaced of George Lucas expressing his frustration with Hollywood and the industry. And I'm gonna play a couple of the clips. They real short, man, but I thought it was good to talk about because that's kind of what we talked about in our previous episode, how it's kind of hard to experiment. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
George Lucas kind of was in the same vein with this. So,
and I'm reacting, so I haven't even heard these. So this is gonna be fresh. You're gonna get my fresh take on it.
Yes, sir. Well, let's go.
A movie, and all you do is get criticized, and people try to make decisions about what you're going to do before you do it. You know, it's not much fun, and you can't experiment. You can't do anything. You have to do it a certain way. I don't like that. I never did. I started out in experimental films, and I want to go back to experimental films. But of course, nobody wants to see experimental films.
I loved your first film.
Well, nobody else did.
All right, so that's one little clip that he talked about. Here's the other one.
Now, while you pulling that up, the other dirty little secret is he sold Star Wars, so he don't have control over it no more. So, I mean, yes, that is one reason why he's not directing. But,
Wow.
you know, he can't control what he sold. He sold it to the Mouse House.
Yeah.
They're picking their own directors.
Ooh-wee. All right, here go the other one. A little bit longer, but it's still pretty short.
The studios and everything said, well, wow, we can make a lot of money. This is a license to kill. And they did it. They just simply, and of course, the only way you can really do that is not take chances. Only do something that's proven. Let's not do any. We got to remember, Star Wars came from nowhere. American Graffiti came from nowhere. There was nothing like it. Now, if you do anything that's not a sequel, or not a TV series, or it doesn't look like one, they won't do it. They say, we want something that we know.
So that's the downside of Star Wars.
That's the downside of Star Wars. And it really shows an enormous lack of imagination and fear of creativity on the part of an industry.
Those are two clips. Well, it's interesting because we was just talking about that with Bird Box, Barcelona, and
they cloned Tyrone.
They cloned Tyrone, right? And it's interesting, like, because George Lucas been in the game since the 1960s, bro, making movies. And he's seen it evolve and move in and out of different trends and phases and things like that. So his perspective is just, like, so raw. And I understand what he's saying. As a consumer, we watch this stuff. As a fan, it's like, man, it's kind of hard to have these stories and, like, experiment with them. It's kind of, you want to stay safe. You want to stay safe. You want to, kind of stay in the box and not push your creativity. So I just thought those two was really interesting, man. What do you think, man?
I definitely agree. I think that the unfortunate thing is it takes money to make movies. If we could fund the projects that we could allow writers and directors and actors to truly go to their most creative place, and there wasn't this overarching budget limitation, we would get a whole lot better writing, directing, and acting. The movies that come out would be better. I think that's why I'm seeing a lot of people saying that there's a superhero, what do they call it? We're in the superhero slump, or people are getting superhero or comic book movie fatigue. Honestly, I don't think it's specific to superhero movies or comic book movies. I think it's a fatigue because of the exact thing that George Lucas is talking about. The movies are so formulaic because some bean counter in the background is saying you can't take this risk, you can't do that, you can't do this. And what you get is a movie that eventually, if we aren't careful, they're going to be able to create an algorithm that's going to be able to recreate what writers are doing because they're being forced into a box so strict that they can't really be creative.
Yeah.
So I agree with them. The question is, how do you fix it? I think one approach might be the independent route. I think that's where we've gotten some really great ideas through independent movies where people are taking a small budget, taking the skills they have and really creating something great. It's not, Hollywood blockbuster level, but you still can make a really good movie, but that even within itself is a risk, as you know.
Yeah. It's tough, man. And then, when you got a bigger budget, of course you could do better production quality, higher, car chases and explosions and things like that. But when you don't have that budget, you're kind of forced to think outside the box and try to figure out how can I tell the best story, but also kind of make it entertaining and try to pull all of this stuff off, man. That's why, like you said, the independent route, I love that, people are out here doing stuff like that. It's kind of hit and miss sometimes because we are kind of conditioned to play it safe like that. It's hard, man. But as a creative, you do have a certain liberty where you're not tied to a production house. You know what I'm saying? You could really kind of go off the cuff, and do your own thing and not really worrying about meeting a budget, or getting your money back from a box office. So yeah, man, I love what he said. I think it's refreshing to hear somebody that's been in the game so long talk about how, I guess, the people who sign the checks are kind of holding creativity to the chest, for fear that it may not perform well, as opposed to catering to the writer or the actor, or the story. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, it's real powerful. I thought it was dope.
I can give you a real life example of that right now that Disney is guilty of. We just talked about the first two of the Disney Plus shows being really good, but those were different than just about everything that came behind them. Just about everything that came behind them, they were being forced into a 6-episode run. If I'm not mistaken, 100% of them all had to start and end their story within 6 episodes. Some of them as small as 6 30-minute episodes. Yeah. So, because you're putting it in this box, you're absolutely hurting creativity. I think it's why, besides those first two, and I would say to some degree, those first two Disney shows had some of this in it, but the overarching acting and writing and directing helped to alleviate it. But it really hurt everything else after those other Disney Plus shows because they were being so constrained. You can see the compromises where it's like, there's something missing out of this story. They have a good story, but they're having to rush from episode 1 to 6 to wrap it in such a quick time frame that they're not actually being able to get a cohesive story in there. So you end up with plot holes. You end up with weird things that contradict the movies, like the thing with Secret Invasion. We're going to talk about Secret Invasion. Yeah. But, with one of those characters, it's just becomes a huge plot hole, and it's the result of obvious compromises. If you watch enough movies and you follow stories, you read, you can see where they are obviously cutting so much. They're cutting stuff. They're saying, okay, we don't have the budget to do this, so let's take this out. What you end up with is a compromised result, and I think it's one of the reasons why Marvel is over this last phase. They tried to kind of, explain it away that, this is all leading up. But at the same time, I think most definitely this very issue that George Lucas is talking about is what's impacted all of these. When I watched them, and I enjoyed many of them. I enjoyed Moon Knight and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Was it Falcon and Winter Soldier? Yeah. But there were obvious issues in those series, and it's because they're being rushed. They aren't allowing those folks to actually do a complete story. If I'm at episode 5 and I've got 2 more episodes, you're telling me that I have to force this story into 1 more episode? Well, guess what? The end result is going to be lackluster.
Yeah, man. I think when we get back to the audience, really caring about taking the audience on a journey and not really worrying about the bottom line, I think that's where we'll get back to like what he's pushing for, creativity and not being stifled. Because the job as a writer and a storyteller isn't really to make money; it's to take people's mind on a journey. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And connect and make them see themselves in these characters in this situation, and make them, reflect and make them feel a part of that. And if you worrying about, well, we only got 1 more episode to do that, then like you said, it's gonna be lackluster, man. And you're gonna cheat the audience, man. It's not really getting to the heart of why we tell stories, why we make movies, why we animate or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's really about the audience and the story that we're trying to tell. So, yeah,
and
man.
the funny thing about that, Kahim, while those people who are worrying so much about budgets are doing that, it's just like that sports saying, ball don't lie. Okay. When you lose sight of the fact that it's not just about the money, we want to do it, have a good product and make the money. Those 2 things are tied together. Once you stop respecting the audience, once you compromise the material, it's going to affect the money negatively, because people are going to leave and say, man, this is terrible. I can't tell you, after those first 2 Disney Plus, WandaVision and Loki, those were like appointment TV. They were almost as popular as Game of Thrones. Like, people were talking about, oh my gosh, the next episode of Loki. I don't know that anyone can say that about any of the remainder of the Disney Plus series. They were not appointment TV. I didn't hear people talking about WandaVision, talking about those other series like they talk about WandaVision and Loki, because those were better.
Yeah.
So it absolutely is going to impact it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We can't do this because we don't have enough money. We got to stay within budget. Well, I mean, you're still going to hurt your bottom line by putting out a bad product.
Yeah, true story. True story, man. Yeah. Like me, I'd rather tell a good story and tell an authentic story and then have people be like, nah, I don't really like that. Then rather rush the story for fear of, whatever, and then people still not liking it. Cause then I feel like, man, I could have did originally what I thought of doing in the first place. So yeah. So it's tough, man. It's tough. But yeah, man, I'm excited about that part, man. That got me excited.
Well, now, I'm always good to pose a good question. So I'm going to pose a question to you.
Okay.
George Lucas sold the Star Wars property to Disney, which means he lost a lot of control. I know that in his contract he was able to keep certain amounts of control, but the control he would have had if he retained ownership is on a whole nother magnitude. So you've created something that people absolutely love. You've created a universe. You have sold books. You're ready to do your movies. Would you be willing to give that creative control to another company for the money? Yes or no? And I'm not talking about little money because they made him probably a billionaire. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm almost sure they made George Lucas a billionaire.
How I feel now, I wouldn't do it. I'm on a J.K. Rowling thing. Like J.K. Rowling, she's the author of Harry Potter, right? For them to make the movies, she had to sign off on the creative content. Like she had to go through the movies and be like, this is exactly what I want in there. Y'all could pick, y'all can make it look however y'all want to look. How, you know what I'm saying? But she had ultimately had the last say in the property. So me, how I am right now, I don't know. George Lucas in his 60s, 70s, you know what I'm saying? I might be different then, you know, but I'm 36, whatever. Like I want my content to reflect my thoughts. I don't want it to be rushed. I don't want it to be, you know, manipulated to appease your bottom line. So short answer, no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, man, because I'm a storyteller at heart, and that's the baby. You know what I'm saying? That's my baby. I don't want you mishandling my baby, like you know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, man, I don't agree with that. How about you though? Because you're right as well.
You know, I would go 100% the route that you mentioned, the J.K. Rowling route. Absolutely, the Tolkien route. So I'm the writer. The source material comes from me. I would license it, but never sell it outright. I'm a big believer in ownership. So I'm with you on that because you never know what somebody's going to do once you get that money. They might kill the baby. And then how long before you have, you know, the ability to gain control of it? Look no further than so many music artists who had to fight to get their masters back because they sold them going into the music industry and not realizing to get that early money that those labels were offering, they were essentially, you know, selling all their music rights. And then they get later on in their career and they have to literally buy it back so they can have control over it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you.
Yes, man. It's really about microwave versus the oven. You know what I'm saying? I want the oven. Put my stuff in the oven. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't try to put it in the microwave, man. Because it's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna taste the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. All right, man. Yeah, it was a good clip, man. I like that. All right, man. So we're moving on to our movie review of Haunted Mansion. Just dropped this weekend. This past weekend, I think. Starring Lakeith Stanfield. Real good actor, man. I like Lakeith Stanfield vibe, man. But let's go ahead with the synopsis, bro.
All right. Haunted Mansion. Inspired by the classic theme park attraction, Haunted Mansion is about a woman and her son who enlist a motley crew of so-called spiritual experts to help rid their home of supernatural squatters. This is starring Lakeith Stanfield, the Tiffany Haddish, Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, Rosario Dawson, Chase W. Dillon, Dan Levy, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Jared Leto. They got a superstar cast.
They had a superstar cast, man. It looked like a fun movie, bro. It looked like a fun movie to me.
What did it look like?
It looked like a fun movie, man. No, it looked like they had fun making it is what I mean. But like I was thinking about you when the first part of the movie when they opened up and the Rosario Dawson and Chase Dillon Travis, you know, when they walked in there and the dude was like, "It's haunted," you know, and they took off running. I was like, yes, that's exactly what we would do, right? And they had to do, you know, the movie. I thought the movie could have been over right there, and I'd have been like,
could have been.
It's a great movie right there. I'm good with that.
Right. But, show us what black people will really do in real life.
Right. But they had a nice little twist to it to where the ghosts actually needed the people. You know what I'm saying? To I guess be at peace or whatever. And I thought it was a fun movie, man. What do you think about it?
It was. It was different for me. It had a lot of humor in it. And I was going in kind of blind. I knew that Lakeith Stanfield and Tiffany Haddish were in the movie, but I didn't realize the whole cast. I hadn't really looked it up ahead of time. But they have a huge cast of people in the movie. So I think they use that to their benefit for the most part. The different characters and you know how they played in. One of the funniest things to me is when they're driving, leaving New Orleans, and they go to this house, and I'm like, first of all, why are we moving into this house that is full of all these cobwebs and dust? I'm like, see, y'all have already started on the wrong foot.
Yeah. It's only two people. You got a mansion.
Right? I'm like, was it a fire sale? Was it a tax lien? How did they come into wanting to be in this humongous house on an estate by themselves? Two people. Man, so it was interesting. And then you know how it played out. That bringing all the characters in. I liked the story. It was more about Lakeith Stanfield and like his life and what was going on with him. Going back to his youth and, how he met his wife and all that good stuff. So I thought it was enjoyable. It's not normally the kind of movie I would go see by myself. This is the kind of movie I would probably be taking my little cousins to or something, And I was in there, at my big age by myself watching this kid movie. But But I will say this. I was not the only adult in there. There's plenty of adults in there with no children.
Right. And I was one of them. I was in there with no kids, man. I thought it was going to be a lot more serious. Even though it said fantasy comedy, and but I thought it was going to be a little bit more serious, but they had a serious undertone in it that I kind of enjoyed. Like they hid like you said, the story about Lakeith Stanfield played a guy named Ben Mathis. And the underlying story is something I really enjoy, man, because it's like, how grief, it's like dealing with grief and
loss.
And loss, man, and how people actually feel like when they lose somebody that they really care about, it could be the end of the world for people. Because not only did Ben lose somebody, but Travis and Rosario Dawson's character lost somebody too, Gabby. Travis and Gabby lost the father,
husband and father.
So and how all of that played into it, and I thought that was really clever, man. Like we talk about this, like having movies like animation movies and lighthearted comedy. Sometimes you kind of miss the undertones, and they did a really good job of that part of the movie, like layering that in. Let you know that even though you lose people, other people can come into your life, and kind of help fill that void. Won't take it away, but you can find peace. You can find friendship in other places. And man, I thought that was a really good part about it. Tiffany Haddish character was funny to me, man, because I felt like she was trying to be serious, but the comedian kept coming out of her. You know what I'm saying? And like Owen Wilson, I like his character. But it had some good moments in there, man.
Tiffany Haddish was hilarious to me because you knew what was about to happen to her. So you knew it was going to, that she didn't know when she stepped foot in the house that she wasn't going to be able to leave without being chased back by a ghost. So it was funny. I knew when she came back, it was going to be hilarious.
Yeah. So it was a kind of a kiddie movie, but what was your favorite part?
Ooh, my favorite part. That is a good question.
Okay, so give me the part that you like the most and the part that you didn't like the most.
Okay, let me say this. And this young man, Chase Dillon, he's 13. He can take it. Okay. I had a problem with how they styled this young man. They dressed this 13-year-old child like he was as old as JJ from Good Times. Matter of fact, even by the hair, he looked like JJ from Good Times. This is one of those, you need some black people in the background telling you how black people like to dress. I don't care how square nerdy a black kid is. That wasn't realistic. That part, how they had him set up, and I understand, you know, his family is kind of straight-laced or what have you, but that's a no-go for me, because I kept saying, why does this kid look so old? He looks so old. He's playing 9. In real life, he's 13, and I promise you, he looks older than me in real life in this movie. And that bothered me because they made a kid look old, and I don't know why. Because it didn't factor into the movie at all. At all. So that was kind of weird to me. I would say the best part is probably what you touched on, the Lakeith Stanfield story, the Ben Mathias story about how, where they're showing him falling in love with Alyssa, and then you know that there's some sort of tragedy before they even show it to us, because in modern times, she's not there. We're getting flashbacks to the past. We see her there, but in modern times, she isn't there. And the guy's, he's become a curmudgeon. You know, we first see him, he's happy-go-lucky. He meets her, and I think they were at a party or a bar or something like that. So I think that's the best part of the movie. It was kind of interspersed, laced throughout the beginning before they really got to the haunted house part. Them and, really emphasizing his story was pretty cool. One of the funniest scenes, though, was when Ben, Lakeith Stanfield, was at the police station describing the man that he saw, and he was like, Danny DeVito's character was like, we'll get a sketch artist from the police, and they will be able to get a picture of him. That was hilarious, because when they got done with all these crazy explanations, and he turned that picture around, he's like, yep, that's him. And the people in the police station were like, are y'all crazy?
He said, now how can we do it with skin? Right?
And that's how they figured out who it was. But that was hilarious. And the guy, I think his name, Hassan Minhaj, he was the sketch artist. Hilarious. That was a funny scene right there. But the best part was the underlying story in the very beginning of the movie.
Right. Yeah, man. So I like on the costume part, I agree with you. For Chase Dillon's part, Travis, but also Lakeith's hair, I kind of had an issue with that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe because I got locks. You know what I'm saying? It was too clean. You know what I'm saying? It was like I don't know. There's something about his hair that I really wasn't feeling, but I think it fit his character. So I kind of let it go. But if I had to pick out some things, it would be just the whole costume part. Like they did Tiffany Haddish costume really good. Hers was the best.
All the way down to the fingernails.
Yeah, all of it. Like her character was probably they did the best job with her. And Jared Leto's part, the villain, I guess he was, the ghost, the main guy, he was really good too. Jared Leto is another guy that transforms really well. He did a good job. My favorite part was when, like you said, Ben was the storyline, but when he was sitting there talking about his wife, he just had that whole emotional thing happen to him. You could see it, and I think he's really, I don't know if he was underrated, but I feel like people really need to start paying attention to the guy, bro, because Even when he was in Judas and the Black Messiah, bro, like he did really well with that. But Lakeith Stanfield, man, he's a pretty cool actor, man. But the costume part could have been better with Travis and his hair, bro. But you know, it was fun. I got some good laughs out of it. Danny DeVito was hilarious to me.
Every time he was on the screen, he's a scene stealer.
Yeah, really good job. Owen Wilson did a good job. I didn't know it was Jamie Lee Curtis until they did like the story playback when she wasn't in the ball, because in the ball it was kind of hard to tell that was her. But when she started telling the story, I said, "Oh yeah, that's Jamie Lee Curtis." But yeah, man, it's a good movie. What would you get this film?
Wait a minute, Winona Ryder was in this movie?
She was?
Winona Ryder. Okay, I'm sorry. I have the cast in front of me, and I see Winona Ryder, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember her.
Maybe she was like one of the ghosts.
Maybe. I don't see a name under a character name.
She might have been in the background. Y'all better put some respect on this woman's name and let us know who she played. Maybe she's like one of the ghosts.
Maybe. Oh, you know what? She was. I remember now. Oh, she had a small part. She didn't have a name that they gave. She was in one of the scenes. I will have to go back and watch it again. She's in one of the scenes where, she's the, when they went to the museum, the guy who is the Hatbox Ghost, she was the
tour guide.
The tour guide. There we go.
Right.
Okay,
y'all could have put tour guide on there.
Right? I wouldn't have to go in circles to find that. And now I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to give it, because this is not a movie that I would normally go see, but I can say that I enjoyed parts of it. I'm going to give it a good 6.
Okay.
It's a 6 for me.
Yeah.
I wasn't laughing my head off, but there were some amusing parts.
Yeah. I was on a 7. Okay. Yeah, so we right there. There. Okay. I might show the kids when it come on TV. You know, I'll
on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'll let them watch it. I don't know how interested they're gonna be in it, because it's kind of a little too serious for them. But they may enjoy it. You know, with the ghosts and stuff. But
well, that's a great question. That's something that we hadn't, because I think this is our first movie that's aimed kind of towards kids. So, for the parents out there who are watching, what is your recommendation? Would you tell them to take their kids to watch this? Would they be scared by it or have nightmares? What say you?
That's interesting. I don't know if my kids will have nightmares. I don't know if they'll really be, because they're 7. So I don't know if they're really, because I feel like you got to watch this movie long enough for some of the stuff to catch you. You know what I'm saying? Like once they got to the house and stuff, I don't know. I think they probably would have lost them. They had to come back in, like once it start getting interesting again. So they may be in and out on something like this, but I don't know. I'll try it and see, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
The Cinema Goodness Podcast Rewatch of the Week.
All right. Now it's time for our Rewatch of the Week. Rewatch of the week. No. Scary movie from the Wayans brothers. Keenan Ivory Wayans, a cult classic, if you will. Scary movie, man. I remember when the first time I saw that movie, bro, I was like, I can't believe they actually did this. I can't believe they actually made this a movie, bro. But the more I watched it and the older I got, bro, it became a great movie. Like, it's just so clever. Like, it's so clever, bro. Every time I watch it, I was like, bro, you gotta be you got to be silly to make a movie like this, bro. And
Oh yeah,
Marlon Wayans is hilarious in this movie, bro. It's just the Wayans brothers, man. They gonna go down in history as the parody kings, man. But yeah, bro. Rewatch of the week, man. Scary movie. Let me know what's up. What's up, JP? Your mouth is pinched, sir.
This one is crazy for me. I did rewatch it in preparation to talk about it today, and somehow in my mind I had told myself I must not have watched this whole movie before. But when I rewatched it, it all came flooding back. Like every scene, I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I have seen this."
Yeah.
Man, the sheer number of movies that they spoofed in this one movie. I mean, from the movie that it was a parody of, which was Scream, all the way to Titanic and the Amistad.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just one after the other. And if you haven't seen a lot of movies, you won't catch some of the references. But if you have seen them, you'll catch a lot of the different references of other movies that they were spoofing. Those parts were really, really funny.
Yeah. You know, as funny as it still was a cool story because the twist at the end was, you know, you think it's like, I don't know if he was, I don't want to say retarded, but he was kind of like, he was still like the cop, the security guard, the brother, when he was jerking off at the vacuum cleaner or whatever. So I told you don't come in my room. Yo, but it was cold at the end though, because it catches you off guard. Like he was all like silly, and then like as he started walking more, he got more serious, and he come to find out he was the one at the whole time, bro. And I was like, yo, that is dope. Because you never really see it coming, that hook at the end, bro. And I thought that was just like, you got to be a good storyteller to make it silly as it was, but at the end, there's a payoff to where it all kind of connects, man. And that's something I really appreciate about Scary Movie and what the Wayans brothers do, man. It was a really good movie, man. Rewatch of the week. If y'all haven't watched Scary Movie before, I don't want to know what you're doing with your life, but if you have, you might as well watch it again, man, because it's good, man. It's funny. So much good stuff out of there, man. when they was having sex and he nutted and she flew against the ceiling.
I was just thinking about that scene. Hilarious.
Oh man!
And that's a spoof of one of the Nutty Professor scenes, isn't it?
Was it Nutty Professor? I can't remember, man.
I think that's a spoof of something from Nutty Professor. I think maybe one of the characters was saying, you know, because they were talking about Sherman Klump.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was, I think it was maybe the grandmother. I don't remember. I think she was saying essentially, woo! Exactly. There you go. That was what was gonna happen when he finally got with Janet Jackson's character.
Yeah, he's like, woo!
Yeah, exactly. You're talking about blow your whole head off. You know,
make it blow your head off.
That's exactly what that scene reminds me of. Yeah, so funny.
Funny, man. But yeah, man, I'll rewatch it a week. I said it already, but say it again. Scary Movie, man. Good movie. But yeah, man, we out of here. Anything else?
No, man. I'm excited. Some more good movies coming up. I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming out next week. Is it not?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm excited for that one, man.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Make sure y'all check us out on all your podcast platforms. Let us know what y'all think about Cinema Goodness Podcast, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, and share, all that good stuff. Until next time, you have a light that is out of this world. Let it shine and be the richness that this world deserves. Much love, family. Being rich.
Peace.